This is part 2 of the Schopen-Beard saga, which is the Bearded Shadow. Hope you guys enjoy. I want to give a special thanks to Shane for his wonderful voiceovers. He really helped out a lot, and I think he did a great job. Well, without further ado, let's get started. Now it's time to introduce the new cast members in our encounter with the beard. Miss LaCane, another best friend from uni. She's female, 5'6", skinny, long black hair, dressed in casual clothes. She's also a philosophy major with an almost unhealthy obsession with psychoanalysis, especially Lacanian, hence the name, but she's an overall cool person. She's a serial smoker with a low tolerance towards Schopen-Beard. Mr. Logic, another one of my friends from uni, 6'1", muscular, brown skin, short military style black hair, dressed in the epitome of casual clothing. Also a philosophy major. Logic personified. Although he does have a good sense of humor and a melancholic personality. With the new cast introduced, on with the story. After my first encounter with Schopen-Beard, the next week, I met with my best friends. We met at our usual coffee shop. Mr. Wild, Mr. Logic, Miss LaCane, and me. As Mr. Wild and I were sharing our first cringy encounter, we felt like someone was watching us from afar. And indeed, our coffee started to ripple, and we knew the beard was approaching. Brace for the impending cringe. I took a big gulp of coffee. Mr. Wild whispered, "Oh great, it's this fatso again." Then the beard said louder than he needed,
"Hello, OP and Mr. Wild. I see you're still pulling the African kid look. Only thing missing are the stomach worms."
We were dumbfounded at the atrocious comment. After a few awkward seconds, he unleashed his shriek of a laughter that would put Zeus's thunder strikes to shame. To describe it more in depth, do you know those animes like the Shumatsu no Valkyrie, Record of Ragnarok, where the characters have names for their special attacks? Well, Schopen-Beard's laughter was one of those, which I baptized as Sendashraiku, Thundero Shriek, which is in English. First, he fills his lungs with as much air as he can, while beginning to cock his head backwards and gaze toward the heavens. After his head is in position, and his neckbeard, which now points forward, he begins to protrude as the shriek is loaded. Then he opens his mouth and unleashes a sound that even a deaf person can hear, while staring at the heavens and laugh at God himself, and producing a radius akin to a grenade explosion.
Just be careful of this Catholic establishment with the helpless kid look.
The dreaded Sendashraiku was unleashed again to wreak its havoc on our poor eardrums. After the shock waves had dissipated, we proceeded to laugh awkwardly, except for Mr. Logic, who just chuckled. Up to this day, I don't know if he was chuckling with or at Schopen-Beard. I tried to break the tension and I said,
"Oh, hello, Schopen-Beard. It's you."
My fellow victims of the Sendashraiku were silent. Mr. Wild was passively aggressively smiling, while Miss LaCane had a surprised look, and Mr. Logic had his best poker face that I've seen to this day. The beard replied,
"Well, OP, aren't you going to introduce me?"
What the actual... Still, I figured it would be rude not to, so I said,
"Everyone, Schopenbeard. Schopenbeard. Everyone."
Unimpressed, Schopenbeard uttered,
Now, OP, that's no way to introduce a friend, is it? I'm Schopenbeard, first semester philosophy major, and who is this woman?"
Mr. Logic was still silent, as well as Mr. Wild. Miss LaCane, still under the effects of shell shock, tried to be nice and said,
Hey, I'm Miss LaCane. Oh, so you must know Miss X.
Miss X is a friend of Miss LaCane, also on her first semester of philosophy. Puzzled, Schopenbeard proceeded to scratch his trimmed, to his credit, neckbeard, and said in a very greasy tone,
I don't know. Is she hot? If she's not, I won't remember her. I only remember the hot ones.
What the? Again? Miss LeCain was shocked. Her face was a pure expression of astonishment at the amount of cringe. And you guessed it. Wait, no Sandashi Shiraiku? This avatar of a neckbeard archetype was being serious. She was silent for a moment, and then with a fake smile she said,
I really gotta go now, or I'll be late to class again.
To her credit, she did arrive late to most classes, granted that she lived very far away, like 2 hours away from university.
See y'all.
And with that, she left. Schopenbeard said to her, in a normal tone, for once,
See you, Miss Lacken.
Then after a few seconds, he muttered,
She's hot. I'll remember her.
Ugh, cringe again. Mr. Logic said quick, Bah, and simply left, leaving Mr. Wilde and me all alone with this cringe machine. This Mr. Wilde couldn't bear so much excitement himself. He said he was going to buy some coffee or something, but he just left the scene too. I stood alone, fearing another Thunduru strike, and I said in a rushed tone,
Well, nice seeing you, but I've got to study.
I didn't really have to, but I went ahead and headed to the library. You can't really speak in there, as not to disturb. With an excited tone, he said,
Wow, me too, OP.
Oh, shit, I thought. Well, at least you won't be able to speak, right? Wrong. With fake kindness, I said,
Oh, cool.
We proceeded to the library, and the whole walk there he talked my ear off about how great Schopenhauer is, and how God is not real, and how females are entitled, etc. After a gruesome monologue, we arrived to the library. I proceeded to fake study on the table. I decided to read my copy of the writings of Baron Saint Germain, while Schopen sat next to me with his Bibles of Love, Women, and Death by Schopenhauer. Everything was nice and quiet until a med female student passed us. She was, I kid you not, a 10 out of 10. Still, I didn't pay much attention. I had a crush on a girl, but Schopenbeard laser focused on her with a lustful face, of course, ogling indiscreetly over her attributes. Luckily for her, she didn't notice, as she was looking at her phone with earbuds on, sheltering her from the lustful gaze of the bearded one. This was another one of his signature moves, the Yoshi Faku, otherwise known as the gaze. Then after licking his lips, he whispered something to me, something that still makes me cringe today.
I wouldn't mind sinking it in here. That's gotta be the most delicious cattle I've ever seen. Too bad she must be dumb because, of course, beauty is inversely proportional to intelligence in cattle.
Not believing what he considered appropriate to share with me, he proceeded.
She would look even hotter while being f***ed in all her holes by tentacles, like in those hentai videos.
I detached from my body as cringe filled every cell of my being. Then he began cocking his head backwards. Oh god. And he released his signature move, the Sendeshi Shiraiku. The ripples made everyone stare at us, including the victim of Schopenbeard's Yoshi Faku. I began to panic, since the bookkeepers in the library were the kind of people that would outright ban you from the library from being noisy. Of course, we were ejected from the library with a warning and a reprimand with a long speech. After being temporarily exiled from the library, Schopenbeard grunted,
What up, bitch? Typical female entitlement.
Oh, please stop it. Annoyed, I said.
What the f***, Schopenbeard? Don't you see that's a library?
Surprised, he answered,
Yeah, but it was just a little FOP. What a stuck-up old hag.
With a sigh, I stopped responding, and I checked the time on my phone. Oh, I was going to be late for class, so I bolted.
Hey, OP, wait!
He began to follow me. To his credit, he wasn't exhausted after the run, and he followed me into the classroom. A second more and I would have been late, thus injuring my grade. I sat in the front row, as usual, and indeed, Schopenbeard plopped his rotund behind on the seat next to me. The class, thank God, was uneventful. Mr. Wilde and Miss LeCain were already there. Now you're seeing why this part is called the Bearded Shadow, because he followed me around like a shadow, all the way up till 5 p.m. I know, I should have said something to him, and that I didn't want him around, but 5 years ago, I was very shy and I couldn't stand up for myself. I can do it now, and I'm not as shy thanks to my bro-based Zeus, but I digress. Back to the story. After class, I met with my friends, and we began our processions to our respective homes. And you guessed it, Schopenbeard followed close. After saying our goodbyes, Mr. Wilde walked home. Miss LeCain took the bus home, and I took another, which to my sorrow coincided with Schopenbeard's. Luckily for me, it was just a 20-minute ride. Still, those were 20 minutes of Schopenbeard's usual monologues until the sweet release of home. He had to ride for another 30 minutes, so after I got down from the bus, he plugged himself into the gigantic one-piece earbuds and rode away, while I breathed a sigh of relief as I walked home. Thank you all again for joining me. Hope you guys enjoyed this special presentation of Schopenbeard. The next one is going to be a two-parter, one about the mind of Schopenbeard and the bearded cockblocker. I should probably also thank my wife for doing her voiceovers. It's always appreciated when she's able to help, so she also looks up stories for me and content, so I do greatly appreciate her help. Thank you very much, woman. Well, until next time, this is Dallas, signing off.